Hello everybody, welcome to another Rick's Picks. Today I'm going to be doing my review of the Guts and Berserker armor by Bandai Namco. So now, this is him in the Berserker armor. This comes in later on in the manga storyline, so I'm going to try to keep the spoilers down to a minimum for any of you who haven't gotten that far in the manga yet. But it's hard to talk about this figure without certain spoilers, just because of certain details and what have you with it. But I always liked this armor. I always thought it looked cool, even though technically it's a cursed item. It's not really, it is good for Guts, but it isn't. And anybody who's gotten that far knows why. But it's definitely a really cool looking armor and a very important piece to the Berserk collection. So, with that being said, first off, I want to thank everybody who has subscribed. You're very much appreciated. And for anybody who hasn't subscribed and you like this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and also check out my Berserk playlist. So, without any further ado, let's get to the review. So here he is in packaging. I do like the packaging for him. So you get this nice picture of the Berserker armor right there. You got your official logos. All right. Bandai Namco, SH Fig Arts. His name right there, Berserk. You get this open window so you can see him, some of his accessories. Spin him around this way. You get this nice picture of the Berserker armor, his name, Fig Arts up in the top. Spinning around like this. All right. You get some different poses that you could put them in. It shows all three different helmet styles and some legal underneath. Spin them this way. You get, once again, another pose of the figure with the Dragon Slayer. All right. Same with up there. And then underneath you get some legal. So, with all that being said, let's open him up and see what he's about. Alright, so here he is out of packaging. He's a very impressive looking figure. I love the overall look to him. So first off, we're going to start taking a really good look at him with the rotation. Alright, so when we spin him around this way, you get all this nice detailing in the armor. I love all the detail there, even when you lift up this arm here. You can see it all down his leg. Like you get all this like copper look tone to it in his shoulders and what have you. So I love the extra detailing to him. All right, spin him around this way. Get basically the same thing with the back. Not as much of a wash as you do with the front and sides, but there's a little bit of detailing here that looks really nice. So I do like the overall look to him from the rear. You get back to this side. Basically the same like the other side. There's no real difference in detail. His armor is pretty basic. And then now you bring him back to the front. So like I said, you got a little bit of copper wash in there that looks really nice. It really goes well with the figure. Now, the headpiece is what's really nice. So when you turn it to the side, you look at these eyes here. They're like a gloss red. And that really makes them pop out at you. So you see that side as well. So that's the only real extra detailing that there is with this figure, just because of the nature of this armor. This armor isn't supposed to be flashy, whole lot of different things. It's supposed to be dark, dreary, and, painful. So now that we've done that, let's go through the points of articulation. So the head does move. All right, the jaw opens and closes. All right. Got a shoulder joint with a swivel, an elbow joint, and you got a wrist joint. All right. And as we saw earlier, the head definitely does move. I'm going to move that for a minute. All right. You got two joints right here in the body. So you got a double swivel, and it allows them to get some back and forth motion. They're both on a ball joint. Swing them around this way. You got yourself a thigh joint with a swivel. All right. You got yourself a knee joint. All right. And you got an ankle joint with a toe joint. Right? So everything works very well with him, very smooth. Now, kind of one of the disappointing things I have with these figures so far is that, and this is the line in general, I noticed none of them come with a stand. Usually with like Figma figures or like some of your Japanese I'm sorry, action figure sets, you know, they usually come with their own stand and stuff, but these guys didn't, unfortunately. So that's a little bit of a bummer, but overall, he's still a good looking figure, and I like how his joints move. All right, so now he comes with a whole bunch of accessories. So first off, he has the two alternate helmets. So you got the theoretical Skull Knight helmet. All right, so you have that, or the Skull King helmet. You know, it's one of those mystery, not mystery things about it. You got the half helmet. All right. You got his two faces. So you have this one here, which is a more mellow face. And then you got the angrily screaming head. Now, the neat thing about this is if you look on the side of this one, you can actually see the suit coming on to his face, trying to take over. So that's pretty cool. Okay. You got the two different neck pieces. So you got this one here. Okay. And you have this one here. All right. You also have two alternate legs. All right, so that way if you want them in a jumping position, you can put them in there. Of course, I don't know how you're going to keep them in that position because, well, he doesn't come with a stand. Same with this leg. Now, you can see a little bit more of that wash in there that looks really neat. All right. And I think the reason why they went with that color wash is because as he goes through combat, you know, the quick of it is that when he gets injured in his suit, it doesn't heal him, but it makes it so he's not aware of it. So, like, he'll be in battle and you'll have like blood coming out from all the cracks and crevices of because he's getting so badly injured, but the suit just is allowing him to battle on. You know, once again, I said this before. The suit is more of a curse than a blessing. I'm really curious to where they go with this. So now he has his cannon arm. And the suit's a lot more complex than that, but I'm just trying to keep the basics for, you know, once again, those who haven't made it that far. So you got this hand as well. You got two open hands. Oh, whoops. So you got that one. And this one. All right. You have closed fists. You have this one here. And that one as well. And last, you got your last open hand. All right. So now he also comes with, obviously, the Dragon Slayer. You can't have a Guts figure after the Eclipse without a Dragon Slayer. All right, because if you go in the Golden Age Guts, he didn't have it yet. You have a cape. I like the wash work on that. That looks really nice. I really do like that. It gives it a sense of character. All right, so this is, to me, probably going to be one of the better Guts capes out there. All right, now this didn't come with him, but I'm having it in this video because it's meant for this figure. So this is the ghost form, or I guess the astral plane version of Shiriki. So what happens is when he's in combat and he's going berserk because the suit kind of drives you mad, she actually has to come into him through the astral plane to try to calm him down and to bring him back to who he is before the suit completely consumes him. So we're going to see how well this works with him as well. So now let's start going through some of this stuff. So let's remove this helmet. All right. Okay. All right, that's off. You should be able to fit a head in there. Maybe not. Maybe this one you may not be able to get the face in there. No, all right. So this version of his head does not get a face. I thought it did. I apologize about that, but it doesn't. All right, but let's get a better look at this head sculpt while I have it off. All right. So that looks really cool. So now we're going to do the Skull Knight one. All right. So now the centerpiece comes off. All right. The smoother one is for the Skull Knight. All right. And this just pops right in here. Boom. No issues with that. All right. Here it is. So the face piece comes off like that. Oops. Put the ball joint in here. Eventually. All right. Oops. Yeah, this is just fighting me for a minute. Just because what's happening is the ball joint is moving on me. So because the ball joint is moving, making it hard to get this on here. So let's try it with the whole head on. Maybe I'll hold it in place a little bit better. All right, I think that got it. There we go. Okay. So it was easier to have the full helmet on. So with this one, I'm going to just go with the normal head looking face. All right, so that just slides on like that. Man, that just looks creepy like that, actually. And then you get the helmet. It just slides on just like that. So now you have him in the Skull Knight version. All right. I'm going to pop this head off. Let's get the cape on him too. Wait, let's move this. All right. Now, pretty much if the face is going to work with one, there's a good 90% chance that it's going to work with the other one. So I can swap them out. I might just do that just for, video sake. But, all right, let me play with this for a minute. All right. Get that on there like that. Put the back of his head. That wants to fight. Obviously, this is the the Berserker armor because it don't want to work. There it goes. Okay. So now I got that on, just like that. It takes a little bit of playing around with it because, like I said, you got that ball joint in there. It wants to move. It isn't that the plastic isn't soft enough. It isn't that it needs heat. It's just getting that ball joint to line up and then pop into place like it should. All right. So now get this head on them. All right. So that's on there. And there's the front. All right. So now he has his whole dog look. And this can go on like this. Eventually fighting me. There we go. All right. So now that goes on like that. So now you have the dog version of his head. All right. So, because what it's supposed to do is, as it goes into battle mode or berserk mode, however you want to call it, this is the jawline. So that jawline comes up and then it turns into this. All right. So this is the part that goes around his neck and then it comes up to his head and becomes part of the armor. All right. So this all fits together pretty well. I don't have any issues with any of this. Now we're going to start going through some of these hands. So first off, let's start with the cannon hand. All right. Let's. All right, so that popped on pretty easily. No issues with that. All right. Let's go through these hands. So you got an open hand. That works very well. No issues with that. All right, let's just turn them onto a side like this. All right, should have another open style hand. That popped on very well. No issues. Okay, got a fist. All right, that popped on very well. No issue. And we're ending it with the sword hand. All right. So that pops on very good. So all the hands on that side goes on very well. Now we're going to do this side. All right, so pop that one off. Get this open one here. All right, so that popped on very well. No issues. You got the closed fist. All right, that pops on without any issues. And then last but not least, now you got your sword hand. All right, so the sword hand and all the hands popped on very well with him. I don't have any issues with any of the hands. All right, get him to stand. I'll just grab the stand for him for a second. All right. So now we got the Dragon Slayer. Now the pommel comes off, and that's standard with all the other Guts figures. The pommel comes off, so you could just slide this right through, or at least in theory. There it goes. All right, so you got that one. All right. All right, that hand came off, but it pops right back in. And your pommel. All right. So the Dragon Slayer definitely fits into his hand. Now, this is the thing that's probably going to make you want to go buy a stand for this guy, because the Dragon Slayer is, as they, explain it in manga, basically just a big hunk of iron. So it's going to offset your figure a little bit. So you're more than likely going to have to get some sort of stand for it. Now, let's get to Shariki here. So what she does is she comes with this little magnet here, which is kind of cool. It has the mark of sacrifice. And it's supposed to, I guess, sit between her. Get him off of there. Shoot. Sit between her and the, I guess, the jack, the thing here. Just like that. All right. So now you could have her on him just like this. Look at it from the rear and back on. And she fits on there pretty well. Okay. Yeah, pretty solid. No issues. Oops. Except for when the head comes off. But yeah, as you can see, she sits on there pretty solid. Get his head back on here. Boop. So there's no issues with her being on there. So that's kind of impressive. So now we got our last part, and that's the legs. So they come apart here. Wait a minute. Oh, they come off at the thigh. Okay, there we go. Oh, that was the whole leg. All right. All right, so we got one leg here. Oh, shoot. The whole thing wants to come apart now. All right, so that's popped in there. You get the foot. That pops off. Ball joint don't want to play. All right, so now we're having an issue here. We're having an issue with this ball joint wanting to line up how we need it to line up. All right, there it goes. Snapped in. So now you got the full leg. Pop that in. So now you got that leg up there. Let's do the other leg. All right. So what it looks like is the whole leg wants to come off right here at the thigh, which isn't a real big issue. All right. Because of the factor, makes it a little bit easier putting the parts on and off. All right. So that foot is now in. Pull this thigh out of here. There we go. Oops. There it goes. Okay, so that leg is now in. Right, get this fly back on. There we go. So now, because I have a stand here, all right, you can get the cape up and moving. You can get the arms up. All right. And then somehow, some way, just get my stand to work with them. So now you could have him in that iconic jumping kind of pose. You can move the cape up really high. Get that on there. All right. Uh-oh. One of the jaws came off. Huh. Go. Trying to get this stand to work with me. There it goes. So there you go. You get them into that iconic jumping position. But now, once again, I hate to say it, that's a disappointing thing about this figure, is he doesn't come with a stand for this, because I'm sure a lot of us Berserk fans want to display him in this jumping position. It has become iconic, and this stand just doesn't want to work very well with it. But if he would have came with a stand, you know, you could get him in that position with no issues. So that's probably my biggest flaw with all this right now, is that, okay, you may not have given any of the other Berserk figures any kind of stand, but this, excuse me, I feel like this figure should have came with a stand if you're going to make it so he could do this pose, specifically do this pose. I wanted to show you guys him in this pose with a stand that's better suited for this. It's a more circular stand. All right. So see, you can really get them when you got the right stand. You can really get them up on that high jump pose and what have you. So this is what this character needed, and unfortunately, he didn't come with it. All right, so my final thoughts on this figure is I do like this figure. I like the detail to him. I like how all his joints move very well. All his accessories swap very well. So I didn't have any issues with any of that. Same with the head sculpts and hands. The sword fits great in his hand as well. So everything works well with this figure. Even the cape. And usually with the Guts figures, I'm not a big fan of the cape, but I kind of like this one. It really does work with him. I like that you could get him into this iconic flying pose. You know, striking pose is what it is. But now that's where the problem comes with. I feel like, and this is a personal thought, that if you give him something like this, like legs like these, to where he's in a jumping position, you should give him a stand like this to go with him, because people are going to want to get him into this pose. And, you know, some people, sure, you know, they're cool with going out and buying another stand. They probably have a bunch of stands floating around like I do, so I could do this with him. But other people don't, and they would love to just get this figure into this pose, and they can't because, well, it doesn't come with a stand, and you're going to pay probably an extra $20 for a stand. because the type of stand that I'm using here, these usually aren't cheap stands. Like usually if you get like your Fig Arts figures do come with stands like this, but unfortunately this guy didn't. So that's kind of a bummer that he didn't come with a stand, and I feel like this figure probably should have. But that's a minor issue with him. Other than that, everything else works great. Um, this Astro Plane Shiruki, she works really well with him too. I do like the concept of the magnet. It makes her hold on to him pretty well. So that's a neat addition, you know, to get the two figures so you can also have her and her Astro Plane to go with him. So overall, yes, I would recommend this figure for your Berserk collection. Like I said, the only downer is that he doesn't come with a stand, and that's a personal thing with me that I really feel like this particular figure should have came with a stand. But with that being said, I hope you all did like this review. If you did, go ahead and check out my Berserk playlist and hit that like, share, and subscribe. They're all small clicks for you, but it really helps this channel grow. So until the next one, late.